Today we are bringing all of the MMA news straight to you with timestamps, by the way, if you'd like to skip to any particular part of the video. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels, and welcome back to everything that you missed in MMA this week. This is where we go through every single piece of news that might be going on, whether it's something that you already heard about or the whole world has heard about with Conor McGregor, or two fighters fighting that you don't even care about. We're going to cover it all in today's video, but I will say, with the drought of UFC cards, there hasn't been a lot of news. It's been Christmas, you know. I hope everybody had a good Christmas, by the way, but there isn't a ton going on in the MMA world, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to take a look at some trending posts. We're going to take a look at potential fight announcements. I'm also making this video the evening before you're watching this, so hopefully no UFC 300 fights get announced. If they do, I apologize. That's not going to be in this video today, but let's cover all the news, guys. Timestamps are there if you'd like to skip to any particular part. Now, I actually want to start off with a Twitter post today because Khamzat Chimaev actually I don't know if he came up with this himself, man, but oh boy. He took a picture from Colby Covington's last fight, and look what he did with it. I'm sure you've seen it. This has been absolutely everywhere. It's been everywhere to the point where I was going to include this. Whether or not news was huge this week, I was going to include this because it's very well done, honestly. Just the way he's standing. And I'm a Colby Covington fan, man. But like, ooh, Khamzat did a good job on this one. So, Colby Covington is still the laughing stock of the week now that his fight it was a little bit of a stinker with Leon Edwards, we'll say. Next up, guys, I do want to take you over to Reddit, though. This was the most trending post, the most upvoted, commented on post of the week in the UFC subreddit, and it is just this. Bruh, and it's Conor McGregor, of course, at that event. Oh my god. There's been a lot coming back from the boxing event that Conor McGregor was at, and there was a lot of interviews, there's a lot of people that he saw, there's a lot of pictures that he took. No, that wasn't the face-off with Jan, that was a couple weeks ago, but there was a lot coming off from here, and there was a whole, I don't know, people have been looking at his interviews, people are complaining about, or not complaining, seem a little bit concerned for him. They're making fun of Conor McGregor because he seems cracked out, he seems angry, and it's just a little sad to see, to be honest with you, but it is a funny picture. I will say that, you know, Conor's just screaming some nonsense right now. But speaking of Conor McGregor, I do want to stay on the topic of Conor McGregor because we have a little bit of an update with him. Dana White did speak with Conor. Dana White went on his Instagram live and actually said that he did talk to Conor and they are going to figure something out, whether that's for UFC 300 or whether it's actually a return fight or him booking with Michael Chandler. Dana White said that he did talk to Conor McGregor and they are going to figure something out. When is that? Of course, we don't know, but there's a little bit of an update for you. Next up, let's talk about Islam Makhachev in his next fight because fans are a little bit frustrated with him because he posted that he wants to fight somebody in March or after Ramadan. Now, people are all over the place talking about why is he not in the octagon now because it's been so long since he fought, and then he fought Volkanovski and the fight was like 2 minutes. He took no damage. Did he even take a punch? I don't know. I don't even remember what happened at the beginning of that fight. I just remember being sad that Volkanovski lost. But fans are frustrated with Islam Makhachev, completely understandably so, in my opinion. But the only thing that I do get is not fighting during Ramadan. That's probably very, very hard on your body. And you can't you can't say, hey, Islam, fight now, fight during Ramadan, train through Ramadan. But he should be in there before, especially with being the champion, taking so much time off, and having no damage taken in his last fight. To be honest with you, you would think that he'd want to make a lot more money, but hey, I don't know. Next up, guys, real quick update on the next card. Ketlen Vieira versus Macy Chiasson has been canceled. As far as I know, or at least what I could find, there isn't a reason why, but the fight has been removed and they haven't found a replacement opponent, or I don't even know if they're going to try to, but I mean, to be honest, I don't really care. Now, guys, again, I do want to take you back over to Reddit because this was another trending post of the week, one of the most upvoted. UFC 300 main event for the loser belt. And you know what? It sucks, it sucks laughing at this a little bit because you do feel bad, but Tony Ferguson versus Clay Guida. Guida wins. Ferguson owns the outright record for longest losing streak in UFC history. Ferguson wins. Guida owns the outright record for most losses in UFC history. I don't know who started this or who actually noticed that, but why does the fight make a little bit of sense? I mean, Clay Guida still is looking okay for his age. I can't believe Clay Guida fights okay for his age, to be honest with you. I think he's 43 now, pushing 44. Could be wrong about that. If not, he's pushing 43. Regardless, he's old for the UFC now, and he still moves well. Like, he's losing his fights, but he still moves well. So, he would beat the brakes off Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson, unfortunately, does not have it anymore, and I don't want to see him fight again unless it's against Nick Diaz, because they're two guys that just completely don't have it anymore. And to be honest with you, I would like to see that at UFC 300, but other than that, don't put Tony Ferguson there, have him retire. All right, guys, typically at the end of the video here is where I would give you all of the fight announcements, but I do want to add a new section to these news videos where it's potential fight announcements, because we see a lot of fighters calling each other out and things like that. So I wanted to slip this in there before we get into the actual fight announcements. Now, Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira did tease both on their social media that they have a fight and they could be fighting each other. Matt Frevola called out Paddy Pimblett, wants to fight him. Justin Gaethje wants Islam Makhachev. He says Charles already had his shot. Justin Gaethje wants his fight at the title. So maybe this means that Max Holloway won't happen. We don't really know. Colby Covington said he would fight the CUCK Ian Gary. And Ilia Topuria, calls out Conor McGregor for UFC Spain. I don't know which one of these is actually going to happen. I believe Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira could happen, but the other ones are a little bit far-fetched, especially Ilia Topuria wanting to fight Conor McGregor, especially if he wants that at featherweight. Who knows? But those are the fights that could possibly happen or could possibly become from something that started out on social media. But let's talk about the actual fight announcements that did get announced. There's 2 fights from this week, and again, I'm recording this evening before you're seeing it, so if there was any UFC 300 announcements, this is not going to be in the video. I apologize. Andre Petroski versus Jacob Malkoun on March 30th, and Jesus Aguilar versus Mateus Mendonca on February 24th. I love both of these fights. They're going to be absolute bangers. I cannot wait to see them. But with that being said, though, guys, that is all the MMA news we have for you this week. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, we have this video out every single Friday. I know this one was late. My apologies. It rarely happens. So subscribe if you like to be kept up to date on MMA, guys. If you want to continue watching the Clenbat channel, there'll be 2 videos on screen for you to check out here. I will see you either there or in the next video, everybody. Take care.